Hello, my name is David Mello. I am the Supervisor of Children's Services here at the Fall River Public Library. And seeing as Halloween is just around the corner, I thought it might be fun to share with you some of the wonderful Halloween stories we have here at the Fall River Public Library. So why don't we get started? Now for my first story, we won't be using any of the books here. We're going to enlist the help of a certain friend of mine, the little old witch. Would you like to meet her? Now, can you say hello to our friends out there, my friend? Now, as I explained, she is a witch after all, and she eats some pretty strange things being a witch, and she didn't get to have her breakfast this morning, so would you mind if she ate a couple of things right now? That's okay? Oh, okay, but mind you, she is a witch, so she's going to eat some pretty unusual things. The story's called, There Was an Old Witch That Swallowed a Bone. I know this old witch that swallowed a bone. This dusty old bone that she found all alone. She let out a moan. Why, there was this old witch that swallowed a lizard. It wiggled and jiggled straight down to her gizzard. She swallowed the lizard to get to the bone, this dusty old bone that she found all alone. She let out a moan. I know this old witch that swallowed a... You're not going to believe this. She swallowed a bug. This creepy blue bug that she found in her rug. She swallowed the bug to get to the lizard that wiggled and jiggled straight down to her gizzard. She swallowed the lizard to get to the bone, this dusty old bone that she found all alone. She let out a moan. I know this old witch that swallowed a bat. Can you imagine that? She swallowed a bat. She swallowed the bat to get to the bug. She swallowed the bug to get to the lizard that wiggled and jiggled straight down to her gizzard. She swallowed the lizard to get to the bone, this dusty old bone that she found all alone. She let out a moan. I know this old witch that swallowed a ghost. He tasted like toast, that spooky old ghost. She swallowed the ghost to get to the bat. She swallowed the bat to get to the bug. She swallowed the bug to get to the lizard that wiggled and jiggled straight down to her gizzard. She swallowed the lizard to get to the bone, this dusty old bone that she found all alone. She let out a moan. Why, I know this old witch that swallowed a wand, a magical wand that she found on a log. And then she turned into a frog. Ribbit, ribbit, ribbit. For my next story, we are going to pretend to take a trip together into the dark, dark woods. And it just so happens that's the title of our next story. In a dark, dark wood, an old tale with a new twist by David A. Carter. In a dark, dark wood, there was a dark, dark house. And in that dark, dark house, there was a dark, dark room. And in that dark, dark room, there was a dark, dark cupboard. And in that dark, dark cupboard, there was a dark, dark shelf. And on that dark, dark shelf, there was a dark, dark box. And in that dark, dark box, there was a ghost. Our next story is about 5 black cats one Halloween night. Let's count them together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, there's 5 cats indeed. So I guess we can start our story now. 5 black cats. 5 black cats on a dark, misty night sit in a row beneath the moonlight. 5 black cats on a shadowy street looking around. Who will they meet? 5 black cats now out on the prowl stop in their tracks at the hoot of an owl. 5 black cats softly slinking around suddenly hear a strange, ghostly sound. 5 black cats, bravely swishing their tails, follow the sound of the low, eerie wails. 5 black cats, to their great surprise, are watched by jack-o'-lantern eyes. 5 black cats spot a tiny white mouse scurrying into a spooky old house. 5 black cats hear the little mouse squeak, then nudge open the door with a loud creak, creak. 5 black cats creep through the empty rooms. At the top of the stairs, a dark shadow looms. 5 black cats get a bit of a scare as the flip-flapping wings of a bat fill the air. All of a sudden, someone turns on the light. What a surprise! It's the ghosts' party night. Five black cats. Nothing like eating a good soup. But beware of the kind of soup you make on a Halloween night and what you put into that soup. This story is called The Soup Bone by Tony Johnston. A little old lady lived on top of a hill. It was Halloween. She loved that night, but nobody ever came to visit her on Halloween. Her house was too high up. The little old lady felt lonely, and she felt hungry, so she put some things in a pot. "Here, I have potatoes, onions, carrots, and peas," she said to herself, for she had nobody else to talk to. "But my soup is thin. I need a good soup bone." She looked for a soup bone. She opened cupboards and drawers and peeked onto shelves. A soup bone, where could one be?" she said to herself all the while. There was no soup bone, not one. She looked outside. She looked under the lawn furniture and behind the tree. She found lots of things, but no soup bone. So she began to dig. A soup bone, where could one be?" she said to herself all the while. Then she struck something. It was hard and white and bony looking. "A soup bone!" cried the little old lady. She clapped her hands and sang and danced a little dance until the bone jumped up all by itself. It was lots of bones. It was a skeleton. The little old lady stopped singing and dancing. She began shrieking and running, for of all the things in the world, she was most afraid of skeletons. "Boogity-boo! Boogity-boo!" clacked the skeleton, and it ran after her, clicking and clacking its white bones and chittering and chattering its white teeth. For of all the things in the world, it loved to chase people the most because they screamed so loud. The skeleton chased the little old lady up a tree. It stayed on the ground, for what if it fell from that tree and broke into pieces? "Skittle-scattle, skeleton!" shouted the little old lady, frightened though she was. "Why, yes, ma'am," the skeleton clacked loudly. "I'll just skittle-scuttle into your house." And it did. It looked all around. It smelled something good. "Soup," said the skeleton to itself, for it had nobody else to talk to. "Soup will taste good. I have not tasted anything good in years." And so the skeleton sat down noisily, clickety-clickety-clack, clickety-clack, to eat some soup. But woof, 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 woof. The skeleton stopped eating. It began running all around. Clickety-clack, clickety-clack, for of all the things in the world, it was most afraid of dogs because they barked so loud. "Woof, woof," barked the dog, and it chased the skeleton man. The skeleton man looked for a thin place to hide. "The closet, full of brooms," he thought. "The linen drawer, full of sheets." Then the skeleton had a good idea. It slipped right under the bed. But woof, woof, the dog jumped on top. I'm stuck, cried the skeleton. Now that dog will eat me. Its white teeth chittered and chattered, its white bones clicked and clattered, and it was very, very scared. Then the little old lady stepped out of her Halloween costume. She peeked her head under the bed and said, "I'll not eat you. I will pull you out, but promise not to scare me any more." I'll promise not to scare you." And so they promised no more scaring. Then they sat down and ate the soup. It was still thin, but it tasted good. The little old lady said, "I was looking for a soup bone, and I found company. I am lucky. I am tired of talking to myself all day in the house, all night in the house." "I wasn't looking for anything, and company found me," said the skeleton. "I am lucky. I am tired of talking to myself all day under the ground, all night under the ground." They ate and they talked to each other, and then the little old lady played the piano. The skeleton played his bones. There was nothing else to eat. There was nothing else to do. "Now what?" said the skeleton. "It's Halloween," said the little old lady. "Let's go scare somebody." "Yes, let's," cried the skeleton. And so they did. And that's the soup bone. Now, for our last story, Ghost in the House by Amy Joan Paquette. Boo! There's a ghost in the house, in the creepy haunted house, on this dark, spooky night, all alone. And he goes slip-slide with a swoop and a glide until suddenly he hears a groan. And a mummy makes two in the house, in the creepy haunted house, on this dark, spooky night, on the prowl. And they suddenly shuffle around without even a sound until suddenly they hear a growl. And a monster makes three in the house, in the creepy haunted house, on this dark, spooky night, midnight black. And they creep and crawl down the echoing hall until suddenly they hear click-clack. And a skeleton makes four in the house, in the creepy haunted house on this dark, spooky night, cold and black. And they stagger and stomp in a spine-chilling romp until suddenly they hear a shriek. And a witch makes five in the house, and the creepy haunted house on this dark, spooky night, best beware. Then a sudden flash makes them topple and crash, and suddenly they hear, "Who's there?" There's a boy in the house, in the creepy haunted house, on this dark, spooky night. What a fright! 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All the creatures run, leaving him all alone to say good night. And that's Ghost in the House. Hello, my name is David Mello. I'm the Supervisor of Children's Services here at the Fall River Public Library. And I thought, since Halloween is just around the bend, it might be fun to make a Halloween puppet. Now, this little puppet here is very easy to make, and I'm going to show you everything you need and exactly how to make it. Now, to make our puppet, we'll need a small piece of orange paper. We'll need a pencil. We'll need a tissue. Have a pair of safety scissors and a black crayon and a green crayon and some tape. First, what we're going to do is we will fold our orange piece of paper in half. And then we will take a crayon and we will make one like a backwards C, just like that. And we'll give it a stem. This is going to be our puppet's head once we start cutting. Take your scissors and hold the side of the fold. And we will start our cutting. Make sure you don't cut off his stem. And here we have our pumpkin head. Then we can take our black crayon, and of course we'll give him his triangle eyes, his triangle nose, and his typical pumpkin grin. Make sure you include those spaces for his teeth. We want to give him a nice, spooky Halloween smile. There. And we mustn't forget his stem, so take your green crayon and just color in that top portion. With the pumpkin done, we can then take our pencil and our piece of tissue. Take your pencil and gently poke it through the top of the tissue. This is going to be our spooky ghost's shroud. And then take a piece of tape and just secure it just beneath the eraser portion of our pencil. Then you can take your pumpkin head and a piece of tape and secure it right to the back. And lo and behold, our pumpkin puppet. Now, if you enjoyed these stories, you can find these and many, many more wonderful Halloween stories here on the shelves of the Fall River Public Library. So I invite you to drop on by and explore our collection. My name is David Mello, Supervisor of Children's Services at the Fall River Public Library, and I thank you for listening.